All right, looks like our Chris isn't ready. He's, as usual, he's just drinking.
Just try to put off talking to you for as long as possible.
There's no wrong with that. All right, here we go. We're back live. We're live again. I don't know the last time we did this, Chris, on our bullshit platform with our big shill mic.
Last time
inadequate mic.
Last time we were about a minute after we were doing a recording. Just said, let's do it live.
Right. Okay.
I remember.
Yeah. And we're now he's joining us in a sec. Yeah, we're now labelled as controlled opposition as well. So we've moved up the pecking order now. We're not just bullshit platform, big shill mics, tick, shill merch store, tick. Now we're controlled opposition. Because we're doing this live show, there won't be a part one on Saturday. This will be the part one, if you like. Evening, everybody. Sorry, should say hello, really.
Good evening.
I think there's 150 or so at the moment in the chat. Yeah, and that's it really. Also, I had a few problems last week with loading podcasts up and things like that. I could only get part one up. So part two will be live. Well, it's on there now, actually. It's live now. So if you are a member on the website, you will be able to get access to part two there. Also, the video from the previous week that I couldn't load up, that's there as well. So I've also going to put live the Matt Wancock edition. What I'm going to do is put live on the website. I won't commit to every week, but at least one a month or every other couple of weeks, I'll put one on. Go through all the flockers and put them all live on the on our website as well. But that'll be for members to download. So, yeah, that's about it, really. Chris, you got all to say before we start?
No, not really. I've got some more calendars for sale if anyone wants one on Gaping Gobs. Right. You can see two behind me there. Look.
And, you got right year this time.
Someone just took the piss and put, is it 2024? But yeah, basically, all the calendars, I didn't mention it before because I wanted to solve it before I mentioned it. I sent out 30 odd calendars, and then Jeff told me that they were the wrong year, they were 2025.
Right.
So I've had to, it was a printer's fault, so they've sent me them again. So I've had to repost them all out with a cover letter saying, throw the other one away. This is the real one. What a frigging drama it caused me.
Yeah. Shall I bring Dave in? Dave in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're in, Dave. Do you know what? There's no easy way to do that. It's sort of like it's on or it's off, or it's on type of thing.
It should kind of drift in, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
You could have been a bit gentle, a bit more gentle with me there, you know?
Yeah. No foreplay or anything, Dave. Just straight in.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I am, anyway. You're right, yeah.
I
was rooting through some images because I'm putting my book together, and this one came up. So I had to pull the video up to go with it as well. So I might start off in a minute and play that video where he's crying on TV.
Do you have to put us through that again, Fat?
Yeah, really, yeah, I do. Because I think we need to keep reminding ourselves what the fuck we went through 5 years ago, because it'll disappear into the rearview mirror very quickly, won't it? Just like 9/11, just like all the other stuff that we have to put up with.
Yeah, it reminds me that we live in the land of make-believe, land of make-believe where we just accept lies.
Yeah.
When we looked at that, we could tell he was laughing. He wasn't crying. But the muggles out there saw a man crying.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they're so used to this land of make-believe that we're in.
We've stopped trusting his gut instincts, Dave. We just well, not us, but you need to trust your instinct, don't you? We've been trained not to.
I think it's even beyond that, Chris, because people aren't trusting what's right in front of their face. It's like if somebody hits them on the hand with an hammer, they go and they're told it doesn't hurt, then it doesn't hurt, even though their hand's swollen.
Which is 1984, isn't it? 2 + 2 is 5. No, it's not.
Right.
Slap. Well, it is.
I thought it was.
It is if we say so. And we've reached that point, haven't we? Quite finally.
That reminds me, one of my favorite Star Trek episodes is "There are 4 lights." I don't know if you're not a Trekkie, you won't get it. But
I do like it, but I don't consider myself a Trekkie.
No.
Go on, what happens there? Tell us.
I was just Picard is being brainwashed by this Cardassian, and he says there's 4 lights up there, and the Cardassian saying, "How many lights are there?" And he says, 4. No, there are 5.
Oh, really? So
And
they do the.
he just keeps like torturing this guy until he
Bloody
says there are 5 lights.
All right,
Well,
that's straight out of 1984. That is.
Yeah. But it was a very powerful episode because he gets released at the end, right? And against the will of the torturer, and just before he leaves, he turns around and says, "There are 4 lights."
So he's a bit tougher than Winston.
Yeah,
I think Winston
that's the way I'd like to go out. That's the way I'd like to go out.
Yeah.
Just like, no, there are 4 lights.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, screw you.
That
Screw
video
you
I
and your
played
bullshit.
there. Yeah. That video I played there was the New Order of the Barbarians. Remember when I first heard that about, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago? I mean, plenty of people's heard that by now. But that was Dr. Lawrence Dunnigan giving his insights from a meeting in 1969 given by Dr. Richard Day. And that is... I didn't hear anything in there that hasn't been done 60 years or whatever it is afterwards. Over the years, everything has happened in what is said. If I get my tongue out my teeth, and everyone will say that's a coincidence, but it can't be.
But haven't we had that throughout the ages, though?
Possibly,
we had
yes.
the secret doctrine, right? So you can still go out and listen to it. You've got the protocols of Zion. You've got all through the ages they've been releasing, or not? They've been releasing. It's come out what the plan is, and we've for the most part just gone conspiracy theory.
Got a bit more invasive in 2020, though, doesn't it? The plan, I would say.
Yeah, we're in it, aren't we?
Yeah.
This is the end now.
Yeah. Well, I'll play that video actually, just to annoy you all. Got a few videos actually to play that are quite annoying, but I'll play this one.
Just simple words there, reacting it. You're quite emotional by that.
Well, it's just, it's been such a tough year for so many people, and there's William Shakespeare putting it so simply for everybody that, we can get on with our lives. And there's still a few months to go. I've still got this worry that we can't blow it now, Piers. We've still got to
William Shakespeare.
Get the vaccine to millions of
Got
people.
Shakespeare.
And so we've got to keep sticking by the rules. But it's just, there's so much work gone into this, and I'm really, really, it makes you proud to be British.
Yeah.
2 pricks on screen at once.
So much work going into trying to murder half the country. You've got to be proud to be British.
But you could turn the sound off. You turn the sound off, and you could see he's laughing. He's not, and the whole William Shakespeare thing. If you look back at this now, you go, how the hell did anybody fall for this?
Yeah.
William Shakespeare.
The writer of fiction.
Who was probably fiction himself.
Probably fiction himself, yeah. He's shaking a spear.
He actually died. So he got that in May, got another one, and he died in May. Sorry, got that in December and died in May. And the press said nothing to do with the Jabberoonis, why he died. He was 83 and making a big song and dance about how old he was.
Well, the better one was, and I'm blanking on her name. There was a woman who got the jab and she fainted almost immediately.
Was it a nurse?
That nurse in America, wasn't it? Yeah.
And
then she
Tiffany
vanished.
Dover.
Yeah.
Tiffany Dover, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, yeah.
Didn't she vanish and then come back looking different? And then vanish?
No, well, that's the thing. I followed it for the first year. I followed it. It was on. I was keeping a running commentary on my website, and yes, because people were starting to look at this, they got somebody else to stand in for it.
That's right. Yeah.
And
Did she?
the thing
Did
is,
it show a face? Did it show up?
this woman, the Tiffany Dover, she was a really tiny woman. There's a picture of her on a Facebook page standing next to a 12-year-old, and she wasn't much bigger than a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Right? They replaced her with this woman who was about 6 foot.
Fucking brilliant.
I remember that, Dave, because they were stood on a stairway, weren't they? I think at one point.
Yeah.
They were all lined up, weren't they? And that was supposed to be a. Because everyone says she's vanished, but then she reappeared looking totally different.
I actually got
They don't even have to
contacted
try, do
by, I actually got contacted by NBC, like a reporter from NBC who seen my website, and she wanted me to believe their story. So
Right.
she kept trying to present evidence, like,
Right.
look. The family went and bought a new house. Here's her signature on a mortgage.
And longer legs. And longer legs.
Does that prove something? You know.
You shouldn't have to say anything if it's true, should you? You'll just.
Do you think, Dave, that NBC person was either some kind of trying to infiltrate you into changing your mind? God knows how many other people have tried doing that with. So then you could pass it on to your listeners, because obviously you've got a following, if you like, and try and change their minds then and say, "Oh, I got it wrong, guys. Sorry about that," and do the Neil Sanders flip flop.
Yeah, obviously that was a plan to because there were too many people looking at this, at the wrong time. Yeah, this was right when the jabs first started rolling out. Really inconveniently, this nurse passes out on camera in a big sort of media blitz, and then she dies, and they try and keep her alive. So yeah, they were trying to. That she did actually do a broadcast. She didn't use any sort of references from me because I wasn't having any of it. And the final time she contacted me, she had some photographs or something she wanted to show me, right? And I said, unless you've got the woman right there looking at me saying I'm okay. I said, no, you're just trying to bullshit me. I wrote this big page full of blurb to tell her, look, you're controlled opposition. You're trying to manipulate the masses. I'm not having any part of it. Knob off and go find somebody else.
The amount, in a way, you'd love to go back under calmer times and just listen. The amount of effort that were put into that kind of propaganda. We saw Piers Morgan there, and he's still part of it now, apologising, didn't he, to Novak Djokovic the other day. I'm not saying he means his apology, by the way, because he's a fucking twat, but
I'm guessing he was heavily slagging him off on it at the time.
Oh, yeah. And he's now going to backtrack, or he's being paid to backtrack. So, to lessen, because obviously they're selling this now as though it was ineptitude, greed, whatever you want. Michelle Moan's out there being dragged through the coals, which she should be. I'm not sticking up for her, but it's not just her, is it? Or her husband. There's thousands of them. I mean, Matt Wancock had family members who benefited from contracts with the government.
Well, that level of the pyramid. They have to sort of find some benefit to what they're doing. Yeah. Just like, if you're in the Masons, you'll get benefit from, okay, you get that
speeding
contract
or whatever. Yeah,
whatever. Right? There has to be some benefits beyond, sucking on the public funds teat. Liberally. So they get to live a good life and purloin some of this money that's sloshing around.
Do some on in Zahawi's research. I remember he'd claimed some expenses for his riding stables, right? For I think the electricity on in his riding stables.
I remember that fight. Yeah.
Remember, it was about. They said you've claimed $5,000 or $6,000 or something like that, and it wasn't right. It wasn't right in the scheme of things. It wasn't right much, and he said, "Oh no, it wasn't that. It was 4,300 or something like that." So he actually admitted that he had scammed it, but it weren't $6,000. It was 4,350.
Imagine going to bed at night, right, knowing that you've possibly killed a lot of folk and made a lot of money out of it at the same time, and then just when your head lies down like that, just that moment of, yeah, that were a good day. How?
you're looking at it wrong, right?
Yeah, I know, and I'm being silly.
He's just there, I think.
In-
Yeah.
In this world, right, to get to those positions, you have to be the right type of psychopath, right? And
Or
so
creature.
you wouldn't have feelings. You wouldn't have
Yeah.
feelings like that.
Yeah,
You just wouldn't, you know.
different
It'd be
creature
just
even.
like, I wonder how much money I've made today. You know, pretty much it.
Did you see that fella? That I know he's probably old news. Probably everyone knows this. The Al Qaeda leader who is now president of Syria.
The ISIS guy.
Yeah, no, he was Al Qaeda fighter. The other
What,
one,
Al Qaeda? All
Yeah,
right, not them. Right,
not ISIS. They've got millions of pounds in bank, and Al Qaeda won't even recruit them because they were scared of them. That's
Right,
how bad
okay,
they
right,
were.
right. That's
ISIS,
how bad they were.
another level. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, he was one of the leaders of Al Qaeda, and now he's president of Syria. Now, I don't mean to be paranoid, right? But I think, and now he's just gone and met Donald Trump in Washington DC. So they basically took all his headscarf off and everything, chopped his beard down a little bit, and give him a suit and a tie. And now he's president of Syria.
Well, one person's Nazis, another person's NASA director.
He was top 10 most wanted in the world, and now they've just rebranded him as Syrian president. Now, call me suspicious, right? But I think he's a plant.
Very astute. Very astute.
Yeah, I think they've put him there.
I knew there were
Take
reasons to
over
set a
Syria.
podcast up with you, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I smell a rat. I don't know about you. Do you?
You know, we're dealing with essentially one family.
Mm.
One family, yeah.
Yeah.
That family split off and everything, and it's got like little bastard offshoots
Yeah.
and stuff. But they're all, this one family is doing
All
all
different
these
shapes,
jobs.
all different colours, all different sizes.
Yeah.
They all, yeah.
And we're just falling for the screenplay. Yeah,
What was
it's all-
Image I
Isn't
found.
it biblical, Dave, that when Damascus falls, I'm not saying whatever you think of that, but that is going to be a part of the end time thing, and that it's going to be destroyed, and then it's going to be ruled by the Antichrist, apparently.
Well, I think the bit about Damascus appears in the Old Testament. I might
Yeah.
be wrong.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's the Old Testament thing. Yeah, I won't pretend I know that much, by the way.
And I've got to say, I think, isn't Damascus destroyed at the moment after all
That's
that
what I'm
war in
saying.
Syria?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's destroyed now,
Um,
and then apparently it'll get built back up by a blasphemous leader who's the Antichrist, which
Does it happen to be orange?
it could be Israel, it could be Trump, it could be wherever. But I always remember going back years, even before 2020, reading that if Damascus goes, it's whether they're actually trying to fulfill scripture or it was a prophecy, I don't know. But it seems highly suspicious that he's now gone and been run by a puppet president, if you like.
Reason I
No,
put that
well-
up because it were from a presentation, and there's Obama, obviously the whatever she was, and Tom Hanks, and all of them's got that. What Dave were talking about there, that psychopathic bloodline, all different shapes, sizes, different sexes. Obama obviously gobs people off in limos, on crack. Tom Hanks plays all these culture creation type characters in films. And the Queen was the Queen, I suppose. But all of them are related back to that bloodline that you were talking about then, Dave.
Yeah, we just got to realise that we're in a stage play, and we've just fallen for it all our lives. And this society around us is just one big film set, just like the Truman Show. Just think of the Truman Show on a bigger scale, yeah. And we're all Truman, yeah.
Yeah. You're not wrong there. What else were I looking at video-wise, just to annoy everybody? That were it. Shall I play Dr. Schillery? The reason I'm going to play him is because, I'll tell you what, no, I'll use this image first of him that I knocked together earlier. Is it that one? No, it's not that one. It's this one. There we go. Apparently, he's been booted off TV. He's lost his contract with the. So I went back in time and had a look at some of the stuff that he was saying. You see him there with his mask on in top corner, but then he would actually saying, "Mask." If you see that one at the bottom there, Dr. Hillary says face masks are useless, but then all down here is defending why I didn't wear one and what this. Telling everybody to wear one, etc. But there's a great video of him sticking up for the Oxford AstraZeneca jabs, where they're talking about blood clots, and he goes on saying you can get a blood clot if you just sat down.
I've just got one myself.
Yeah. So I'll just play this on Lorraine. I won't play it all because it's about 6 minutes long.
Oh, no, it was a fart. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Oxford vaccine is on the front pages this morning because 11 European countries have now suspended its use over concerns about blood clots. And Dr. Hillary is here. What's going on here? I mean, it's you can understand why people are getting a little bit concerned, more than a little bit concerned.
Yeah, because it's reached headlines, hasn't it? So 11 countries, and here they are. These are the countries that Norway and Denmark started the problem, if you like, and these countries followed, including Ireland.
Started the problem, fucking hell.
Republic of Ireland. And we haven't. Why are we all different? And the reason is because
We're all
what
bought.
we know in this country, having given 17 million jabs, having done clinical trials on the AstraZeneca vaccine.
So, see, he's lying there because they didn't give 17 million jabs of that AstraZeneca, right? I don't know how many they gave, but they weren't all. There were Pfizer and Moderna and that one, and I think another one at the time. So he's lying through his ass there anyway on mainstream TV. And it's scripted, so he knows what he's saying. There's no excuse.
I don't think you meant to say they're the problem, though.
Agency,
No,
and
I
our
don't
own
think you did, Chris.
MHRA, our regulatory body. We don't see any data at all showing there's evidence of a link between the vaccine.
Apart from
and
them
blood
people
clots.
dropping straight away.
We do
after
know
that.
there's a link between smoking or sitting still for
fucking
long
lying
periods of
bastard.
time or being pregnant with blood clots. Blood clots happen all the time.
You lying little bastard.
Again, how many people did he kill by saying that? He's only been on a minute. Just by saying them words there, people, how many people did he finish off? How much is he being paid to fucking talk this shit?
I'm just surprised that you think they're not lying all the time.
Oh no, I do. Yeah. I've been the devil's advocate there. Yeah. I mean, look at his face. Look at his face there.
But you've got to realise that he's been put in place, for decades to be the trusted voice.
Yes.
Yeah, the trusted medical voice, and he's been playing that role, all the time before COVID, with the hope that he will influence people later on.
Yes.
Just like Lenny Henry. Do you remember Lenny Henry?
Yeah.
When COVID started, he was like, "We love you. Take your jab."
Yeah. Well, he did that video, didn't he? The BAME.
Yeah.
BME. All them people just lined up, all them actors that you've watched all your life.
We
and
love
told
you.
Yeah. We love you.
Lenny Henry, the comedian who's never made you laugh.
Yeah. But I know people in the chat, and we obviously don't see this. We know this, but it's hard for people, say my neighbours or whatever, to understand the planning that goes into this behind the scenes generationally. To say that what you've just said there, Dave, that this guy were put on our TVs probably back in the 80s, definitely in the early 90s, to become this. I remember him he was portrayed as this handsome doctor, weren't he? This sort of, and he should listen to. In fact, Kate Garraway in an interview, I could probably find that video, when her husband apparently got 91 Divok and was dragged into an hospital. Before she rang the ambulance, she rang him. She says this in an interview, that she rang him and asked him what to do. I mean, I think that's bollocks personally, but even she's even selling him there as being an expert on this stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's what influencers, and this is why we were saturated with influencers.
Yes.
Yeah, and they were all told all at the same time, you got to push this, or your money's going to get cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how they managed to get as many as they did. I don't think they literally jabbed as many as they say they've jabbed.
No.
I really don't believe that at all.
I'll tell you what, though, Dave, they jabbed enough, because I don't think a week goes by where somebody doesn't say to me, "Oh, do you know such and such?" or "Do you know such and such's brother?" Yeah, they're not here anymore. There isn't a week goes by where at least one person That wasn't a thing in 2019 or 2020 or early 2020 before all this shite started. That wasn't a thing. It happened every now and again.
Well, this annoys my girlfriend whenever we're out driving. Right, so I drive quite a bit actually, and I actually can't count the number of ambulances with the blue lights flashing.
Yes.
And every time I go out now, I see at least 6 on my trip.
Yeah.
It was so rare before. It's so rare to see an ambulance with, but yeah.
Well, when we were kids, we didn't see them, did we? When you were kids, you didn't see them. And now they're in little villages flying up and down. I live over the tops here, and you can see the blue lights on the roads. And you know they're ambulances because they pass you all the time. And it's same with the defibs, isn't it, Chris, that we were talking about? They're everywhere now. Everywhere. But
I tell you something I find odd is I live next to Addenbrooke's Hospital, which is a massive hospital, and it's growing as well. It's getting really big. And before 2020, you can drive past it, and there were always groups of people outside, either smoking or getting some fresh air. And there's never anyone there anymore, which I find odd because apparently they're busier than ever. But there's just, and all through 2020, by the way, from then on, there was just a lack of people in this whole area. It's like you can, I don't know, come out the hospital and stretch your legs or whatever. There'll be people in wheelchairs, people smoking or whatever. But there are always groups of people. There's no one there anymore. It's just odd. It's odd.
It's a great reset. Again, how many great resets have we had over the last 1,000 whatever years?
Well, 2023 and 2024, I was on a tour around the country. So I went to most of the town centres around the country, and what I started to realise is it's empty. It's a lot emptier now. Obviously, people's habits have changed since the lockdown, but I start to see fewer and fewer people. Now, I also watch. I keep an eye on what's going on in China. There's a channel called China Observer, where they leak what's going on in the country. And one of the things just recently is that for the country that's supposed to be the most populated country in the world, people have disappeared. The capital city is empty all the time. All the shopping malls are empty, and even the villages, the remote villages, they're all empty. And people are wondering what's going on. Where is everybody?
Also, Vegas, Disneyland. I've seen some videos on Disneyland, Vegas. There's no one there. And I don't know if you've been to London lately. And I went about a year. Well, I got quite a bit, but about a year ago I went at Regent Street, and it's got the same thing as a lot of town centres now, with boarded up shops. Frigging Regent Street, though. Like the shopping capital of England, and they've even got boarded up shops. I mean, it's odd. Yeah. What do you call it as well? Leicester Square. There's like vape shops. How can you afford a vape shop in Leicester Square? I don't know.
Yeah, odd. I think it's the beginning of us noticing that their plan has succeeded to a great extent.
That cues up a good
City of London. City of London's really quiet. Me and my missus met in this.
I can't hear you for some reason.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
me? Have I muted? Yeah, I can hear you. Have I turned you down, Chris? Wait a minute.
Probably.
Back there? No,
you got it.
It's my end. It's my end.
Right. Okay. Go on. Carry on, Chris. Sorry. Carry on.
Me and my missus met on Bishopsgate, which is just where we did our live show down the East End there. And it used to be fucking right. I worked in the city as a chef for like years, and it was packed all the time. I mean, I know things have changed because people are working from home or whatever, but they're building massive buildings, but there's nobody there. It's very odd, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know what? That then has knock-on effects because there's less people shopping and stuff. The whole I've been saying for a while, right? I call it the Teotihuacan. The Teotihuacan has already happened.
What's Teotihuacan?
The Teotihuacan is the end of the world as we know it. It happened in 2020. Yeah. The whole of the commercial, financial basis of this society has ended. But people don't know it yet, and they're still going through the motions.
Yeah. Well, on the news they call it, say, a collapse is coming or whatever, but it's not a collapse, is it? This is a plan. It's an operation.
Yes. Yeah, it's the clearing away of, or the dismantling of this system, ready for their great reset.
I did mention that. Well, I remember sending it to you, Dom, that we're looking at children and men. Yeah.
That was in one of our first podcasts that we did. I know people have talked about this for ages, not just us, but Chris's exact words were, we're going to open his curtains one day and just hear birds tweeting and dogs running up and down, barking. There's nobody around.
I think because we think in movie terminologies, I think we expect when something dramatic happens, there will be a big dramatic event, not a steady, slow burn, that you don't even realise.
That's how they keep getting us.
Yeah.
They made 1984 required reading for everybody at school, just so we wouldn't recognise it when it actually happened. Yeah. It actually happened, but we didn't see it because it wasn't like 1984.
I think also people read it or watch the films or whatever and think, yeah, it's never going to be that bad, is it? It's never going to be as bad as 1984 or China. But slowly, it's made its way there to the exact. It's worse actually because
I was just going to say that
in 1984, even though they had the telescreen that they couldn't switch off, we fucking pay for ours. I mean, I'm sat in front of one now. I mean, so.
Yeah, I remember it's 2000. I think it was 2005 when the flat screen TVs started coming in, and
overnight
we discovered that there's a camera in the front, right? But now everyone's got a flat screen TV with a camera in it, so the telescreen is here. We just
paid
don't
for
know it. And we pay for it, and people have got the. They've got the AI spy in their front room, Alexa or whatever.
Yeah. Little robot spy that you're talking to every day.
They've got their phone thing. That's always listening to them. It's like where it's worse, as you said, it's worse than 1984. But it doesn't look like the book we read. So.
It's like a merger of Brave New World and 1984, I think. It's like both of those kind of almost going side by side at the same time, somewhere in the middle.
It's going to be all of it. It's going to be Terminator soon.
Yeah. Have you seen that video of Elon Musk's ex-girlfriend, Grimes or whatever she's called? She's an odd-looking thing. Dave. Let's see.
Yeah. Overall, I think there's quite a bit of abdication of responsibility around like.
Firstly, how come she talks like him? Is she actually real there? Is that
maybe? I don't believe any videos I see anymore, but it might be real. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are we going to do as people's jobs start being taken fairly aggressively? Luckily, there's a massive population drop coming. So maybe everything is just fate and it's going to work out okay. But I feel like we might get like very, very, very good AI across every pillar of art before there aren't any more people to make art.
Is that really art? What she does is really art. I mean,
no.
Luckily, there's not going to be enough. There's not going to be many people left.
Well, she's basically saying, "Don't worry, because writing and art will continue with AI, even though there are no people." That's basically what she's trying to say, isn't it? That's what she's trying to say.
Yeah, but again, look at YouTube now, right? It's like infested with AI slop.
Yeah, I know, and it's getting to a point, Dave, where I probably won't watch it because you just can't trust anything that's there anymore. And it's just shite, isn't it?
And I remember when they first started showing the generative music by AI.
Yeah.
I thought, actually, that sounded quite good, actually.
It actually draws you in, doesn't it? It actually draws you in. Yeah. Until you realise you slap yourself around the face a few times.
I think I saw like 1950s versions of rap songs or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, for the first time you hear it, it's like it sounds quite, it's quite cool.
Well, it's at least interesting. I mean, and those trailers of like Star Wars, if it were made in the 50s and stuff, I watched them. I thought they were interesting. So it'd have like Clint Eastwood, or in the 60s, like Clint Eastwood as Luke Skywalker, whatever, different like 50s, 60s actors playing them, and done all retro as well. So it's quite intriguing.
Yes, interesting at first, but it gets very, very tiresome very quickly, and you start to recognize that sort of standard artificial feel of it. Do
you know one that got me, Dev? And
So
on
nice.
on Instagram, which I'm on for Sheep Farm and for my sculpture business, so many videos of a big girl, like a bigger girl on a swing, and it snaps and she falls in a river. But loads of different versions of it. Now you've got this super apparently intelligent tool that you can do anything, and someone somewhere has typed in "fat girl snaps a swing." Is that as far as the human imagination goes?
Idiocracy. It's idiocracy.
It's idiocracy. Exactly right. Yeah.
And
Trump is
laughing at fat people falling over and
It's not funny. It's not real for starters. So it's not funny, is it? 'Cause it's just I don't know. It is idiocracy, right? It's like Dom says. It's what is it, isn't it? Off RoboCop. I'd buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1. Yeah, everyone starts laughing.
And just nothing's
You have
happened.
to download that part and play it. Keep talking. But only a few years ago, her ex, I believe it's her ex now, isn't it?
Who's?
Elon Musk, that Grimes.
All right. Yeah.
Said this.
I'm worried about the birth rate, which you alluded to earlier. The contrary to most people think we have like too many people on the planet, but actually this is an outdated view. This is assuming that AI is fine, assuming that there's a benevolent future with AI. I think that the biggest problem the world will face in 20 years is population collapse.
I agree.
I want to emphasize this. The biggest issue in 20 years will be population collapse. Not explosion, collapse. It's very easy to see what the world will look like in 20 years because humans have a 20-year boot sequence. So like you say, well, who was born last year? Okay, now you know what the world will look like in 20 years. It's that easy.
I absolutely agree with that. The population problem is going to be facing huge challenge. 1.4 billion people in China sounds a lot, but I think next 20 years we'll see this thing will bring big trouble to China, and the population decreasing of the speed of population decreasing is going to speed up. Yeah. Collapse. I agree with
accelerating
that.
Collapse. Accelerating collapse. And then the common rebuttal is like, well, what about immigration? Like, from where?
He missed a fantastic opportunity to say big trouble in Little China then.
I know he did.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
I got that as well, yeah. Brilliant. That guy there, by the way, just before we start, he's called Jack Ma, and he's the founder of Alibaba in China. He was a young global leader as well. And apparently Elon Musk was what a surprise, yeah. So, I mean, these people are to be able to stand on a stage and not be ridiculed for saying things like this. They're in the in crowd, aren't they?
I mean, he's wallowing in his own arrogance, that little guy, isn't he?
The thing is, though, I made a video back in 2015, and I included a speech by an MEP, Daniel Hannan, basically saying that the biggest problem that we face is population collapse. And now this is 2015, and I don't know how long before 2015 that he actually made that speech.
Yeah,
but he basically said that with by 2050, or was it 2040, the Europe would have lost 100 million people. Right. The thing is, the population decline, and this is me talking about it back in 2015, right? People don't realize how fast it will decline. Okay. I gave an example of, imagine you've got a jar with 1,024 jelly beans in it, right? And on the first day you go to the jar, you take one jelly bean out. Next day you go back, you double it, take two. then you double it next day. Take how many days do you think it will be before that jar is empty?
Not many.
Well, just have a guess.
100.
It's actually 10 days. Right? What day do you think it will be when the jar will be half full?
6.
Day 9.
Oh, fuck.
Again, if you think
the tipping
about
point is very quick, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you think about it, by day 9, right, you've taken half the jar. The next day is double it. Take the rest of it. Yeah. The point is you don't see it coming.
Yeah.
Right?
The critical mass point is as soon as it's critical mass, it's all over, isn't it?
But what's interesting as well is it's only like the last couple of years that the mainstream started admitting that there's a decline. Because up until even 2022, 23, they were still saying, oh, there's too many people around. There's too many. I heard people saying in the street, there's too many people around. But they were saying that we were fine. But all that time, the reproduction rate was below 2.1. It was like 1.6 or 1.7. And now it's God knows what. But they were lying all that time saying, there's too many of us. Then they fired all the LGBT stuff, made everyone so miserable they don't want to have kids. And they've just added another, with the 2020 thing, then they've just added that, and they've added all this terror to make no one want to have children anymore. It's fucking, they're lining it right up, aren't they?
But again, you've got these people like Elon Musk. I mean, he looks like he's a giant there next to that guy, by the way, doesn't he? But they're lining him up as this false hero, aren't they? Along with all the other people, a fake hero.
Just because he said that doesn't make him a good guy. He's just got some inside information.
Oh yeah, 100%.
None of them are good guys. if they, you know, I think I've got one of those, you know, the fanfares for 20th Century Fox. You know, and it's just it's all of them. It's all of them.
Yeah.
It's every single one of them. Then none of them are good guys. They're all working for the same great work.
If Elon Musk was the richest man in the world, as they say he is, and such a nice guy, imagine what you could do if you were the richest man in the world, other than build fucking rockets to fake Mars.
Or put a fucking chip in your head.
Yeah.
Kills the pig and then it's safe for humans.
The actual human things he could do, he could sort everything out, couldn't he?
He wouldn't be there though, would he?
No.
Right. But this role of richest man in the world, which I think Bill Gates was before, right? Well, that is literally just a role. Okay?
Yeah, and that's fantasy as well, though, Dave, isn't it? Because it's based on what? He ain't got the money in the bank. It's based on share prices, which you know what I mean. It's not like he's the richest person because he can put his hand in his pocket.
Well, the point is, he's not nowhere near the richest. Because
there's characters, aren't they, playing a part?
The Rothschilds, you know, in 1900 had something like 500 trillion.
Yeah,
that's what they were worth, 500 trillion, and they've just kept their, you know, the numbers under wraps, and they've just stepped out of the limelight, and they put up the richest man in the world just as a buffer, as a shield.
Yeah? Jeff Bezos or Musk or these people.
If you're angry, go after this guy. He's the richest. You know,
it's always one character as well, isn't it? They can't be. It's just one character. This one guy's just like, you know, Keir Starmer's running this country. Obviously, no, but you know what I mean. They have to do that. Don't they? Do that one. Yeah. Like it's like I was saying to Dom over there. That guy who's the FBI guy in America now they've got this face of the FBI. What's
Kash Patel.
Yeah. Why? Well, they've never had a face for FBI before. Why has this guy all of a sudden appeared, saying whatever he wants? He doesn't look like he runs FBI. You know, it's just they brought this new character.
It looks like one at Antil Mob. It looks like one at Antil Mob. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, they just delivered this brand new character that they didn't have before.
Well, you know, they're playing this game of chess. You know, the game of chess from Star Trek.
Yeah,
with lots of levels and stuff. Yeah, they're playing that game of chess, and we're coming to the board with a bag full of checkers pieces, yeah. So yeah, they make moves, and we don't understand what those moves are, like putting a face on the FBI or whatever. But we don't know what, you know, where that's going.
It'll lead to, well, that's what I'm saying. It must be for some reason. It's leading to something, isn't it?
And have you seen the video recently talking of like Bill Gates, how he's changed his mind now? If he ever had a mind anyway to change, but he's changed his mind on the climate nonsense. So he's now flip-flopped and now saying that it isn't a problem. For years he's been talking. Anyway, go on.
Well, it's because he's no longer the one pushing it anymore. He's been ousted because nobody believes him.
Yeah,
he's lost his relevance, hasn't he?
He's lost his relevance. He's not going to influence anybody anymore.
I've never seen a human being with skin like his either. It's got weird skin on it.
That's not Bill Gates.
That's a total recall mask.
Completely different. Completely different.
His skin though.
And you know, there's a lot of people who look completely different to what they were maybe a few years ago.
Pre 2020, I'd say.
Yeah,
it has to be the Great Reset has changed a lot of these people. One of the things that popped up, I told you about this other day, didn't I, Chris? Can you remember Wolverine? What's he called?
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, a few years ago, Hugh Jackman was selling Bill Gates's book for him, telling him how fantastic it was. He's talking about climate change and stuff like that. And that's how you've got the supposed richest man in the world, then a Hollywood actor who's mainstream with all these big films pushing his book for him. And I'll just play that video.
Bill Gates' new book, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster. It's astonishing. If you're at all intimidated by just the subject of climate change and a bit confused by the different views, this is for you. It is so clear where we're at right now and where we need to go. And it's just such a gift that one of the smartest people on Earth has made it so accessible for literally every person on the planet to understand the subject and know where we need to go moving forward. And Bill's an optimist, and so easy to read stuff which sounds very pessimistic around the subject, but there are ways for us to move forward, and this book outlines it. Highly, highly recommend.
Do you reckon there's a shotgun just off screen?
That's still you, yeah. Wolverine.
Influencer.
Yeah. The whores, aren't they, basically? They are.
How could you believe that he'd just make that video off a whim like that? I'm just going to make this off a whim video about Bill Gates' new book.
He spent 3 hours in makeup before he did that.
There was I went back to look at the Emerald Tablets of Thoth.
Right.
As you do.
That. Yeah, there's something just popped into my head and reminded me to go back and look at it. And Tablet 8 basically says that, you know, these creatures would dress up like humans and worm their way into positions of power, right? And there was a line that said, it was serpent-headed when the glamour is lifted. So, like, they look normal, but there's something that, you know, if the glamour was lifted, they look like serpents.
Yeah.
I hope that happens, Dave. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I'd love to see that as well.
I'd love to see that. Please just fulfill my sci-fi mind.
Yeah. Piers Morgan's talking, and all of a sudden he turns into some sort of lizard.
Fucking love to see that, wouldn't it?
It basically carried on went on to say that there was a sound you could make that would destroy their disguise, and the sound was taught to men, and they were discovered, and they were ousted. But it basically left the door open to say that they're going to come back and try it again.
Right.
And I was really that shocked me that you know, this sounds like it happened thousands of years ago or something, and these characters are still around and they're going to try again. And literally, that's what's happened. You
do. From what you just said there, you do get the feeling that it's cyclical and it just happens over and over again, and we're just in another round now. Where, I mean, hopefully, I hope in my lifetime, I hope they reveal themselves in my lifetime. I just want to see it. I really do.
But yeah, it is all cyclical. And my latest talk, I'm plugging my latest talk. My latest talk is going into the fact that it's, you know, everything is a cycle, and we're actually living Adam's journey, right? So, you know, Adam and Eve,
right?
I keep saying there's only two ways of learning and growing and discovering new things and, you know, exploring and stuff. It's either immortality or projecting yourself into the future via children. Okay. So immortality was the first way with Adam. He was meant to be immortal, but that immortality was taken away. And plan B was he was going to have children and sort of project himself in the future.
Generational.
So if you have a son, that son is you. Okay, and you spend your first several years teaching your son, right, where to everything you've learned, so he doesn't have to start where you started.
Yeah.
Right, so he can carry on like passing the baton.
They don't fucking no.
So that journey that Adam's on is actually what we know as the hero's journey. That's why that's the most popular, style of storytelling, because it's the story. And the hero's journey is that you leave this place, which is wonderful, right? Garden of Eden. All your dreams come true the moment you have them, and everything's provided to you. But when he was there, he didn't realize it was paradise, because that's all he knew. Right? If you don't know the opposite, you don't know where you are. Right? So he had to leave and end up in the deepest, darkest, horrible experiences ever, so that he can climb out of it and go back to Eden, knowing the place for the first time. And that's where we are. I think we're just about to climb out of the darkest pit and find our way back to Eden.
I agree, but it could take 100 years, could it?
I'm thinking it's going to take a lot less than that. I mean, don't you feel that time is speeding up?
I had an interesting theory on that, Dave. This is some time ago. Well, it's not my theory, but someone was saying once certain decisions have been made, or once certain things have been put into action that are irreversible, you could say, i.e. the arm spears, things speed up to the end game, to the end point of that thing that's happened.
Yeah.
It's an interesting theory. Don't know what you think of that.
No, Terence McKenna, don't know if
Mushroom guy.
Yeah. He put forward this idea called time wave zero, and it was about the Fibonacci sequence, and literally how, as the Fibonacci periods get smaller and smaller, right, the same events, in say a 55-year period might end up happening in a period of 55 hours.
Right.
Yeah, so as the Fibonacci sequences get smaller and smaller, things just keep happening faster and faster and faster.
You just feel like that, yeah.
And I got this feeling one day. I did something I've never really done before, but I was listening to a video on 1.5 times speed.
Right.
I thought, I've seen people do it, and I realized, they don't want to sit there for an hour. They'd rather sit there for half an hour. Yeah. So I tried it, and I realized that normally if you speed something up like 1.5, 2 times, you can't understand what the people are saying because it is too fast usually. But YouTube have done something where they've chopped up the voice so that you can actually follow it even at 2 times speed. So once you start listening at 2 times speed, after a little while, it doesn't feel like it's 2 times speed. It now becomes normal, right? And you feel like
your body adjusts to it, or your mind adjusts to it, whatever.
Yes, and you think, well, it's normal speed now, but it's going by twice as fast. And I feel that's what this life is like. And I've had a couple of people say to me that they've had an old phone which they used to keep in one of those Faraday cage bags, right? And they left the phone in there for a year and forgot all about it, and then opened it up, powered it up, and at the time the date was totally different. It was back I think it was even a year. It was a year out. And I've heard this 2 or 3 times now that somebody had an analog watch, and and it's been losing time for every day it loses a few seconds or something.
Yeah.
So maybe this is what's going on. You know, I don't know. I think it's gonna. I think.
Do you think that's what CERN is all about? Do you think
Sorry?
that's what CERN is all about, or do you think nothing's going on there?
I think CERN has got a very, very particular job. There are too many coincidences for it not to have this one job. Yeah, it's got, as I say, it's got the Carly out the front, coming out of a portal. Yeah,
yeah. It looks CERNish. Yeah,
yeah. It's also located around the Temple of Apollyon. Okay, which the the New Testament says that is the bottomless pit, which is going to be opened in the last days to let all the demons in. Yeah,
nice.
Now CERN keeps saying now we're trying to open a gateway into another dimension.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you think as well, a big circle on the ground, I mean, you can almost. Maybe
you can watch the film or read the book, can't you?
You can almost see it vanish, can't you?
It's also I found out that the seat of Satan is actually in Switzerland, which again CERN covers half of Switzerland as well.
Is that where they did the ceremonial bridge opening thing, Dave?
Yeah,
that was Switzerland as well, wasn't it? That was right near CERN.
Tunnel.
Yeah, they had a few goats in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did a video which YouTube deleted straight away, and it was looking in the New Testament. It tells you where the seat of Satan is. It says where somebody called Antipas was put to death. So I started doing a bit of research to find out who this Antipas was and where he got put to death. And it turns out he was put to death in Switzerland.
Who was it? This Antipas guy?
He was, I don't know, he's some character in the New Testament.
Right.
And he literally got put to death in Switzerland. And then I just happened to at the time catch this guy whose dad who started the WEF with Klaus Schwab. And this guy was saying Switzerland is the most evil place on earth. All these companies that are actually oppressing mankind.
All these NGOs.
They're all headquartered
and when you think about it, when Hitler was all powerful in Europe for whatever 5-6 years, he never invaded Switzerland where all the money and all the power is. He could just walked in there, 2 Tiger tanks and a couple of machine guns and taken over it.
They're always neutral. The world is falling apart around them, and they're just sitting back going.
And how does anyone get?
Bring your cashier, lads. Well, it's safe here.
How does anyone get in the middle of a world war just to decide what's neutral?
Yeah,
but also they've made it sound like they were taking gold teeth out, stacking it, piling it all up. When there's a country next door that has most of the gold in the world. That doesn't make sense.
I'll tell you something funny as well. You never meet anyone from Switzerland.
I actually met somebody, Chris.
I've worked in restaurants where you meet every nationality. Yeah. I've never met a Swiss who's working in a restaurant.
I actually met someone in summer on holiday.
Right.
Yeah. Because I was shocked. I went, really? I thought they were German. But the one that said they're from Switzerland.
Yeah. Let me just turn my eating on them, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just odd that CERN I think has got a very particular job. If anything, I would chalk it up to the quantum computers that are all over the earth now.
Well, who was it? Geordie, I forget what he's called now.
Geordie Rose.
Geordie Rose, yeah. Him who invented the D-Wave thing. He said that thing was summoning up demons. I'm sure he said summoning up demons.
What was that, man?
Geordie, what was his surname again, Dave?
Rose.
Geordie Rose, who invented the D-Wave computer. He said He said they sold that to Google, didn't they?
I think Google had one. They had about 4 of them, didn't they? I was obsessed with looking at them talk about that.
Yeah, I was as well. Yeah, the American military.
I like finding references in films and TV shows, and I found a couple of references to these quantum computers. There was a TV show called His Darker Materials. Okay, it was a weird thing about dimensional travel, and and characters walking around with demons next to them.
Isn't that book? They're books, aren't there?
Yes. Yeah.
I think they made films, and then they didn't go too well, the film, so they stopped them. Then they made it into a TV series, if I remember right.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
But there was one part when there was a woman scientist on Earth working with this quantum computer, and started talking to this quantum computer, and it spoke back to her, and it basically said, "We're the fallen angels." Right. And literally it was saying that, well, the chilling last word was, why have you been guiding and messing with humanity? And it said, vengeance. Right. So it's literally, I believe that these quantum computers are essentially one use for them is they're an antenna to a consciousness, and they allow these entities to speak directly to you. Rather, back in the old days, they had the scrying mirrors, a black mirror. Yeah,
no, everyone's got one.
Yeah, no, everyone's got one. But I think this gives you a nice direct line to these.
Well, you think when this AI, when everyone's using it and they've got it as a friend or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, they'll be discussing things with this scrying mirror. I mean, we're already doing it, but when the ChatGPT, whatever it is, becomes a big thing, and we then carry it around as a personal assistant friend, we'd be literally talking into a scrying mirror. Yeah, I mean, and also, I've always said, me and Dom have always said, where did that technology come from? Like you said, why they just came out of nowhere. We've got that beamed into the
technology. All technology was given to us.
Yeah, I believe so. I agree. Yes.
You listen to Tesla, for instance. What he said, he got all that technology in dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Downloads, basically.
Yeah. What's Francis Crick who discovered?
Yeah, Francis Crick. Yeah, Francis Crick. Yeah.
He was high on LSD or something, and he got all that after his one of his trips or something. So
yeah, he had some handlers working with him. I forget the American guy's name, who was his sort of sidekick as well, Crick. But yeah.
But the mobile device it literally happened overnight, didn't it? Like you said, it was 2005 when the widescreen TVs came out, flat screens, which wasn't the same. They literally wheeled the old widescreen TVs out of one door and brought them in. I remember it happening overnight.
Well, if you remember, there was an interim period of plasma televisions.
Yeah.
And projector televisions. Yeah. Can you remember the projectors? The big things. They were just huge, them things were.
Right.
Just took half your house up.
I actually found in an old Empire magazine and that from 1994, and it had those big chunky ones in there, just before the flat screens came out. And back then they were 400 quid, them things.
No, I had when I was in America, I had the biggest projection TV you could buy. Yeah, it was a 60-inch. It took up half the room in the corner.
Yeah.
And it was literally just
very cost you a fortune as well.
Sorry,
it cost a fortune back then.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Do you know what I was thinking of the day, right? Just on a level of the positive and negative stuff we get fed to us. So everything's doom and gloom and da. But they don't remind us. Why do they not remind us, right? But the good news is technology's got cheaper, hasn't it? Why don't they tell us that? Oh, furniture's cheaper than it used to be. People used to spend a year's wage on a carpet or a sofa. Things have got a lot cheaper. Why don't they ever? I'm not saying it's a good thing, by the way, but why is it never focused upon that? Like I said in my old Empire magazine, one of those big box TVs were like 400 or 500 quid. The equivalent to that now is what, thousands, isn't it? It must be.
Well, because they need us to accept it. Yeah,
just vibrate.
Well, think about when televisions first came in, right? You're probably old enough to remember that when they first came in, they were fabulously expensive, but everybody could get one.
So we had
because was it Rediffusion or DER would rent them for £1 a week or something?
That's right. Yeah, Rumbelows.
Yeah. So everybody could get one. They needed everybody to have one.
And when you think of the propaganda machine, right, which started with newspapers and then it was radio, and then it was TVs, black and white TV, and it's just got them, and then now we've got them in his hand. You can see it's not that long, is it? That little evil plan of whoever's beaming them into whoever's head. They just took it from the radio to the handheld device, which I think I've just realized from what you were saying, Ev, I reckon that will be the the scrying mirror, and we'll be talking to these demons for us. Fucking...
I've got to say, it's already happened, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, like you said, it's a progression, right? The War of the Worlds broadcast,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
which literally got people committing suicide.
Yes,
which was a CIA operation, I think, wasn't it?
Right. Well, Rockefeller funded it,
yeah.
But then they went into TV, which is even more powerful as a propaganda device. But now with the AI, we're starting to see people killing people or committing suicide because the AI told them to. Yeah, it's started already.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more powerful than the television, more powerful than the radio, because people can bond with
just talking to,
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. You can see the progression, like I said, but no one. We've always said, Ray and Dom, that no one's ever took claim for. I invented the smartphone, you know, like they did with the telephone or the you just fucking. I remember 2009, right? And I remember this because I was working in London and I worked in a restaurant, and the restaurant was upstairs. The first iPad I ever saw when they just came out, I think it was 2008, 2009, was it? And I remember seeing everyone in the city like on them, like, you know, showing all the mates and da-da-da. And I remember at the time, Apple said, "We will not make a phone. We've got no interest in making a phone." It's like a year later. So what? They just invented it, made it in a year. Like
it must have been AstraZeneca. They invented
I was going to say that. I mean, it's not like it were a vaccination, is it? How did they make it so quick?
Well, I actually remember the first LED watch.
I do.
Yeah, I remember all them, yeah.
My dad used to get them as cheap off market. Who had one?
My maths teacher had one, and we could get out of a whole period of maths by asking him about his watch.
I remember our dad worked on a market, and then the calculator watches came out and stuff. And I remember having I was thinking about this the other day. I remember sitting in assembly and I had an LED watch, and my mate had one as well. But they were cheap ones off the market, you know, when they become a bit more main. And we were watching for when it changed to like 12 o'clock because all the numbers changed. And we were watching, it was like, watch 12 o'clock. We found that so fucking exciting that it just changed to 12 from 11:59.
There was
Grim Up North.
There was I don't know if you saw the film Contact.
Yeah.
All right, so did you want to play this?
No, mate. No, I'll just play it behind while we're talking.
Just pause it.
Yeah, I want to do. I'm just making sure it was still there.
Yeah, so that film Contact, right? So they get this message from the star Vega, and in the message are plans, right? Plans to build a machine.
Yeah.
So there's a scene in it where they've just got these plans, and this general said, you know, what if they just beam these plans to a poor stupid race, and these poor saps build the machine, and then the whole of the Vegan army pours out. And it made me realize that our technology has been given to us by entities who hate us and want us to build a technology that's going to kill us. And when you look at our technology from that standpoint, all of our technology, it has been twisted into a weapon against us. All of it. Right?
Well, I mean, this modern tech, it's the first time that they've actually given stuff away and funded literally trillions of dollars into all these businesses like Amazon and things like that. And they've given you all this tech for more or less free. Can you imagine how much this tech would have cost you 10, 50 years ago, 100 years ago? You know, if you were going to buy a steam train, it cost a fortune in its time. They wouldn't have given it away. But these businesses were, even though they were losing hundreds of millions of dollars a year, they were just propped up because they wanted to work.
They wanted you to have it. You had to have it. Yeah. You wanted you to have it.
Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, when I came back to this country in 2009-10, I started a group called the Freeman League, and our mission was to build a self-sufficient eco-village. And we had designs for hobbit houses, essentially. So houses that are semi-submerged and covered by earth, and so from most angles you wouldn't know there were houses there.
That's what they should look like, I think. Yeah,
that's what I think too. So, you know, we had these designs of houses and how we were going to set out the land and everything. And I managed to gather about 650 people, right? And these people from all walks of life. And literally everyone we showed these pictures to and you know, described the life to, they said, I'd give up this world and all this stuff in a heartbeat to live like this.
Yeah.
And I think that's true now for everybody. If you really showed like, let's get rid of all this technology and live in a much simpler way, most people go, yeah, let me do that.
Mm. Well, I think it might be forced upon us, like you were saying about the AI YouTube videos and stuff. I think it might reach a point when certain folk just go, I can't fucking take this anymore. I need to switch, you know, and you'll choose what you dip into and dip out of.
Yeah, the only downside to that is I can see, and I'm not disagreeing with you, Dave, at all, is the younger generation. Our generation probably would accept that because we've seen a better way. The younger generation have been bought now. They've been captured by whatever the demon is coming out of whatever technology they're using.
There will still be a few. There will be a handful of inquiring minds, though. They won't.
100%, Chris. No, I agree. Totally agree. But there always is a handful in it. That's the downside. There's never an avalanche.
But when just before I left America, they had a TV show called Frontier House, right? And it was taking out a group of modern families out into the wilderness and getting them to live like it was in the pioneer days. Yeah, and so, you know, you follow these families, you know, building their log cabins in the woods and stuff, and trying to live like you know, turn of the century. And the children were finding it hardest. They were like, you know, I've got all my comforts. I've got my you know, my iPad or not all their stuff anyway, like video games and all that. Right? But by the end of it, they didn't want to go back.
Yeah,
right? They're only there for a couple of months, right? But by the end, none of them wanted to go back.
Yeah, because it wouldn't take long to unravel all that nonsense, because it's not real, is it? It's not real.
But also those artificial dopamine hits you get would have been real ones from collecting your own food, shoveling your own coal or whatever. They're real hits from doing some manual labour, aren't they?
Well, I'll run a scenario, Chris, right? A few years ago, we got a couple of cats, right? I didn't really want them. We were brought up on a farm, me and Chris, Dave, so we're brought up with animals. I understand what it takes to look after them. But my youngest two, my daughter and my son, one of the cats got pregnant, and one night we're having kittens. And do you know what? There wouldn't have been any money could have dragged them away to do anything else than watch these kittens being born, right? Yeah. How many times did we watch stuff like that on the farm, Chris, where it were lambs being born, foals, calves?
Some vet shoving his hand up his...
But what I'm trying to say is that their natural moments, you can't replace that type of thing with a PS or an Xbox. You know, if I'd have turned the PS on at that point and said to my young, do you want to play whatever we were playing, FIFA, he wouldn't have played it.
There's also something about working on the land as well.
Yes.
If you've ever grown anything by yourself, and there's something about, you know, working with the earth and then being rewarded with all this fruit or veggies or whatever.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And also in that world, when you think of, you know, if it was all just humans, people would be good at different things. So as a community, you get together. He's the guy. I've often thought that in that community, what would I be doing? I make sculptures, so I'd be some kind
annoying me probably.
Maybe I'd help build the houses or something. I don't know. It'd be something to do with making something anyway.
It's difficult to see because, you know, we've lived in this artificial construct for so long that, you know, what you're here to do.
Your core, your core reason.
When you were a kid, you knew what you wanted to do, but that got beat out of you to say, no, you're going to have to do one of these jobs that's going to earn you money. So, but if you spent enough time just just sitting with yourself and just, you know, letting your intuition take over, you'll find out what it is you're here to do, right? And that thing will drive you once you find it, you realize it, and when you put in different situations, help you. The world's going to help you do it.
when you're put in different situations, you don't. Your skills will change. You don't know what you might find things you didn't even know you were good at. That's another thing. You might go in there thinking I'm a chef, Chris, or whatever, and come out of there being good at something else.
I tell the story of my son, who was an Xbox kid. Yeah, so he would play the Xbox every moment of every day if he could. And one day it broke, and I refused to get him another one. And he went through 3 weeks of withdrawal symptoms. Rages, anger, tears, the works. And then about 3 weeks later, it just stopped suddenly, and he discovered he had an interest in music. And within a month, he taught himself how to play keyboards. He'd got his first album out on iTunes. He became a registered manager, and he liberated some of his friends and turned them into a pop group. And today he's against one of the UK's best battle rappers.
Oh, brilliant!
But if he hadn't been liberated from the Xbox, he would have never found that about himself.
And there's only that one person can do that. You can tell him and bollock him, but only he can pull himself out of that and go and do it, can't he?
Yeah.
That's it. He's got the power to do it himself. Nobody can tell him to do them things.
There's that phrase from the Matrix. That phrase from the Matrix is a lot truer than most people realize, because it fits everything. Nobody can tell you what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
Yes.
Nobody can tell you what.
Very good description. I forgot actually when we're on about the cycle being cyclical of destruction and rebirth kind of thing. That's in the Matrix as well, isn't it? The architect says it. He says this has happened before, just different every time.
Yes,
a little bit different.
Yeah, but I might have said this before, but the really interesting thing the architect says is that they have to let people who wake up escape the Matrix. So, because if they leave them in the Matrix, they will destroy it from within. So they have to let them escape in their own little bubble, right? Which was Zion in that case, and then they can deal with them later. Well, that's where we are, right?
Yes.
The people who've woken up in the Matrix have been allowed to be in the truth movement and be in our own little echo chambers, because most of what we say doesn't get out to the masses.
And every now and again, they come in and poke us a little bit, and shall we have a listen to Geordie Shaw for a second? Geordie Shaw? Geordie Rose?
What's Geordie Shaw?
It used to be a TV programme, didn't it? A reality show.
One thing I will say about these, before you do it, the actual computers, I found them amazing when you look inside them, these D-Wave computers. It's all it looks like steampunk. It's all brass and gold.
It's like Tartarian.
It's bizarre
technology.
I remember watching it. When was this fight? When was this video?
I'd say it's over 10 years ago. I'd say, Chris.
Yeah, I remember watching. I remember obsessing over this D-Wave thing, and then it just kind of vanished, didn't it?
Yeah, maybe this one's interesting because he's now talking about the software, essentially the AI.
Yeah. So do you think that's what the D-Wave was, making the AI?
Yeah.
But he's also talking about this day a decade before it's actually a thing.
Because you watch these, I remember watching these and thinking, he's not explaining anything. What's he talking about? He was just shouting words out.
He's off his head. It's like he's off his head.
Yeah. He knows exactly what he's talking about.
I'm pretty proud of it. So Kindred was named to a list of the MIT's smartest 50 companies, and
I think one of his businesses,
is a very prestigious
super intelligent
list. It's
businesses,
very hard to make.
was sold to Ocado as well. To manage the food deliveries and stuff like that. Anyway, forget what it was called now.
But the thing that was distressing about it is that they have this map that they show of where all these companies are from. And there wasn't a single company on the list that was from Canada. Not a single one, which was a little surprising, of course, because we're from Vancouver. But they thought that we were from San Francisco because we have an office there, but we're not. We're from here. 3 years ago, the previous company that I founded, D-Wave, also made the list. And it was also the only company from Canada that was on the list at that time. So I've been trying to build the tech community in Vancouver for 25 years. And I find it super depressing that it seems to be so hard to generate.
I don't think we're going to get out of that, to be honest with you. You're going to have to listen to the whole fucking thing otherwise. Have you seen his business?
The two things you can get from that video, if you listen to the whole thing, is that he spends quite a bit of time saying that we are creating something that might wipe the whole of human race out. Yeah, this is where it's heading, right? And then he goes, okay, that being said, we're hiring to try and make something like this happen.
Yeah. I remember watching that. I haven't watched it for years. I'm going to have to rewatch that again.
And the second thing is that there's a Q&A afterwards, right? And somebody says, we've all seen the science fiction where, the technology goes out of control and starts to kill us all, yeah? How do we make sure that doesn't happen? And just like you said earlier, he waffles for about 2 minutes, just not saying anything, not answering the question, right? And then moves on. And the same guy, obviously, in the crowd puts his hand up, and the moderator says, no asking any repeat questions.
Because all those scenarios in like Terminator, iRobot, it's always kind of the same, almost the same thing, isn't it? They bring in the robots and the AI to look after humans, and the robots decide they need to get rid of humans to save humans. It's kind of always the same kind of.
So she was his business partner, Suzanne Gilder, in that Kindred business that you were talking about there. She's a Scottish lass.
She's about 14.
That's meant to be her. So that's meant to be a robotic double.
Got hair colour on.
and she she did a video called something like "Robots Have Feelings." She's saying they're going to have to bring laws in to a bit like the LGBT stuff, where they change it all, bring and include robots into that sort of legal system.
Well, they brought it in with that. I think was it in Saudi Arabia, the first one, and they declared her. She had human rights basically.
What was her name? I can't remember her name.
Look, shite though,
Sophia. She was called Sophia, wasn't she?
Sophia,
right.
yeah. You mentioned iRobot, and that just sparked a memory because there's a new robot that just come out called the Neo robot. Yeah, it's like this cloth-covered robot with holes for eyes.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Now, interesting, they're putting it out as a home help robot, just like in iRobot. Yeah. But the interesting thing is, out of the box, it can only do very, very simple tasks like open a door or pick something up or go and fetch something. Yeah. If you want it to do anything specialized, right? That's the one. Yeah. Like hoovering. Yeah. If you wanted to do the hoovering, you set up a time for expert mode. And what happens is somebody in India will remote control the robot and teach it how to do the hoovering. Yeah. And now the operator has taught it what to do. Now it can do it. Yeah. But the point is that at any time, even though they say there's safeguards, I don't think there are. At any time, somebody could just remote control that robot that's in your house.
Kick fuck at you.
Just like in iRobot, when all the robots turned against the humans.
Yeah, and he left that one that wouldn't, didn't he?
Well, that reminds me of Superhero 6, Chris. That thing there, I put a picture up of Superhero 6. It looks exactly the same.
Same eyes, yeah, those little black eyes.
Yeah, but again, think about it though. That you've got this machine in your home that at any time somebody could just take control of it, and they could create a murder scene in your house while you're at work.
Yeah. And also, it's not a real robot, then, is it? You're just basically outsourcing slavery to a machine in your house to India.
Well, they've already been doing that. I mean, there's that case of was that the shop, the autonomous shop?
Was it an Amazon shop? I think so. Wasn't it?
Yeah, and it turned out to be people in India, right? Doing
Instead of you going, someone's just doing it for you.
Wasn't AI at all. It was just a bunch of people in India.
That's actually probably a good sign, isn't it? That they're trying to sell this tech to us that it's really, really good, and it's only really halfway there. It's not really to what they want it to be.
Well, as I said, I think this tech isn't real tech as such. There's no such thing as AI, right? They can never pile enough transistors together and get to get intelligence, right? So what it's really doing is getting us, preparing us for this idea that yes, machines can be intelligent, robots can, take over these jobs, but these are going to be essentially the AI is going to be just another intelligence. We'll call AI another intelligence. It's going to be an entity that we're going to think is actual machine intelligence.
So they're getting us hooked on it now, and then they'll actually introduce the scrying mirror itself.
Have you seen that picture of Kardashian? You mentioned the name earlier, but it wasn't her. You were mentioning it off Star Trek. Have you seen that similar sort of thing that she's wearing? It's not dissimilar to that, I suppose.
Oh, God.
Somebody sent me that. Yeah, it's a recent one where she's... what's going on there? That's her.
Might not even be her, might it?
Yeah, it might not be her. She's done it twice, hasn't she? She did one about 4 years ago at some fashion show. Apparently her business has just had something like $300 million invested into it. That skins thing or whatever it's called. It's now worth something like $5 billion, apparently. Okay. But it's Mickey Mouse money. But
I don't want to see it. It looks too satanic to me.
There's something horrible there, isn't there?
Well, they're literally witches, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Something occurred to me.
She's a cousin of David Cameron, by the way.
Oh, really? Doesn't surprise me. Has she got pig as well?
Yeah. I said that to Mark Devlin, and Mark Devlin said, "Don't talk about his wife like that."
Now, something occurred to me when I was looking at those robots.
Should I put it back on?
You could do. As I said, they're going to be this technology is going to be spirits inhabiting these things, walking them around. And it occurred to me the Nephilim and those bloodlines are all about hierarchy. Yeah, they're all about rulers and princes and
the king structure.
Yeah. So I've mentioned before about the host bodies that have been spread out all around the world. Yeah, that got created in the Ukraine. Do you remember me talking about that?
Yeah.
Right. So you've got these host bodies, right? You've got these big AI computers, right? You've also got all these robots. Again, it put in mind that when these entities come back, which is the plan, that the upper echelons are going to get actual human bodies, and the lower ones will get these machine bodies, because they want to preserve their hierarchy.
Yeah, they look like little minions, don't they?
Yeah. And again, I think just like we saw in iRobot, these things are going to turn against us if we get them in our houses. That is.
That's their actual website. OneTimesTech.neo.
And how fucking lazy do you have to be to have one of them wandering around your house? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but what they're selling, Chris, is obviously there's going to be a lot more ill people, can't walk around, etc., etc. So they're selling it down that fact. You get these. You can't walk up steps even though you're only 25 because you weigh 400 stone. Get these to bring you monster munching and your curly whirlies.
It's funny. I'm years ago. I started writing a book, a science fiction book, about a guy who went off into. This is before I was a flat earther. Went off into deep space to do a job, and he'd come back, and because his job involved time, you know, he'd have to come back, and if he was out in the wrong time, he'd have to wait and do so. But the point is, he'd come back, and one day he came back and he realized eventually that he was the only one left on Earth, because it was literally all these androids walking around. When he first turned up, everything was still operating, shops were open, and you know, commerce, everything was going on, but it was all androids. You know,
slowly the humans vanished. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you might have been onto something there, Dave.
Yeah, that's almost like where we're heading, you know.
Yeah. Expert mode. That's what you're on about, Dave. Someone's controlling that now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Imagine poor bastard trying to control that. He drops one of them glasses.
Well, actually, it looks easier because he's got like these hand controls, and he's looking through the eyes in stereo. So it would be like telepresence.
Can you imagine EMFs coming off that thing?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Again, all technologies there to harm us. But it's just this idea that at any time somebody can just take over without you knowing, and do whatever they want, right, in your house. You know?
I heard an advert on the radio the other day, and it was saying BMW's electric cars now come second-hand. I think this is right, something like this. Second-hand BMW electric cars now come with a 12-month guarantee on the battery. 12 months.
Nice.
You know, you're thinking 12 months. The battery is the car, isn't it? So it's only guaranteed for 12 months.
You get 12 months before you have to lay out 50 grand. Yeah.
Yeah, before it blows up.
Or it blows up. I'm looking at Facebook, and it keeps coming up with little stories that going, you know, more people are buying electric cars every day, you know.
Yeah, right.
That's why they're all stopping making them. Yeah.
I think the average age of a car now on the road is 12 years. They're saying it's actually increased from 8 years to 12 years because nobody wants to buy any of them pieces of shit that self-combust.
There are massive fields of electric vehicles rotting, right, because nobody's buying them.
Didn't work that bit, did it? That plan didn't work.
No, but they're going to.
I think it's which countries it's in. I think Scandinavian countries where they're not allowed on ferries because they kept bursting into flames.
Yeah, and you know, if there was any smarts in this government, then they wouldn't be allowed on the road.
No.
You know?
No, yeah. If you sell something and it damages someone, it's usually taken off the market straight away. For some reason, they've just been carte blanche, left to their own devices. Do you remember when that? I think when that airport went up with and they emphasised all the time that it was a diesel vehicle. Right? We've never seen a what is it? Car park combust and collapse ever in his lives, but it did this time, and it was a diesel vehicle. It was a diesel vehicle.
Yeah.
So, Chris, if you want to buy one, you put £200 deposit down. You can choose what colour suit they're in as well. But
you get them in corduroy.
You can early access. You can get 20 grand, right? Or it's £500 a month. Also,
you can pay 20
subscription charge. No, there's a subscription charge of £500 a month, and it's 20 grand.
No,
sorry. You can rent it or buy it. Yeah.
I'll buy it for 20 grand.
And it's only pre-order. You can't get it yet. You can only pre-order it.
What, like going to fucking on a Virgin Moon mission?
Yeah.
Book myself in that Virgin Hotel on Moon.
Just quickly going back to the electric car thing. Something that's quite concerning I keep hearing is that these cars blow up as soon as they start catching on fire. I think it's the Teslas. The door locks don't work.
Yeah,
and they can't get out, and people just burn alive in the.
I looked recently, Dave, very recently, and it's still happening. Like families, and it's happening all the time, but it's not in the news. It's never mentioned anywhere.
In the normal world, the first time that happened, that should be right. No, that's it.
Yeah. It's happening everywhere. It's not even told. It's not even in the news or anywhere. How long are we doing now, guys? Because I'm going to have to go in a minute. How long have we been here?
10 minutes. An hour and 45, something like that. I'll play this video, right? Can you remember that? What was that? We played it the other day with that Stephen Graham, that actor, Chris. What was that? Adolescence. Can you remember that thing that went a bit viral earlier on in the year, Dave, on Netflix? I never watched it, but it was all about, I think it was a 14-year-old kid or 15-year-old killing another schoolgirl. Made a big thing about it. They were talking about it in Parliament. So it was all about...
Keir Starmer said it were a documentary.
Yeah, it was all about telling lads that they were violent, basically. Yeah. So, and they couldn't deal with, chatting up girls or things like that. And this kid got frustrated and ended up killing this girl. That was what the whole programme. So what they've decided to do now is they've said they're going to write a book and they want parents to write letters to their sons and tell them how to be a man. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I'll play this. So this is Stephen.
Sorry, hang on. Tell the mothers to tell the sons how to be men.
No, the fathers have to write a letter to their son telling them how to be men. But it's from, again, it's from a direction of the all blokes are misogynistic potential murderers at 14-year-old. That crime doesn't necessarily happen, and if it does, it's very rare.
My experience of making adolescents, I was really surprised with the amount of dads that came up to me and told me the kind of conversations they'd been having with their sons. We came up with this wonderful idea to ask you dads out there to write some letters for a book where you can really talk to your sons and communicate with your sons. Because a good friend of mine told me about this beautiful idea that Ollie had with his son when he turned 13.
Yeah, we asked a load of men who we loved and admired to write him a letter on what they believe makes a good man and what they wish they'd have known when they were younger. And we ended up with all these letters with amazing nuggets of wisdom in them and life lessons for him to sort of carry through now for the rest of his life in becoming a man.
So what we want is for you lot, you dads out there, to help us write a book, which will be your book as well, called Letters to Our Sons. So if you could write letters to your sons, and they can be letters about anything, can't they?
Yeah, they can be funny, they can be sad, they can be moving. It doesn't matter what kind of dad you are. It doesn't matter what your experience is. You don't have to be a great writer. You don't have to write this perfectly. It's just about writing honestly. And you can submit anonymously if you want. Yeah. It's entirely up to you.
So please, 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 please put pen to paper or get that keyboard out. Get someone to help you if you want. I'm dyslexic, but I'm still going to do one. So my missus will probably help me. But get your letters in, please, so we can read them and you can help us make a book that can hopefully talk to generations to come. Do you know what I mean? So please help us make this book. Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice one.
What?
More mind control. I actually don't know whether he's got a son. I think he's got daughters.
What?
Oh no, he has a son. He has a son. I'll let him off.
What men in this generation are men anymore?
Well, that's a good point. None. None. Absolutely none.
Because look, where we are today.
When would you say the line was, Dave? Who are the last? Do you think it's our age? Do you think it's maybe 40-year-old? Maybe 30-year-old. I see my eldest son and Chris's son, and they are probably even Mark Bajewski's son. They are blokes, them. And they were just on the cusp of millennium. They were born like 94, 94, that type of generation. It was just changing. The transition was just changing from, they weren't allowed to be proper boys anymore, but there were still some boys, whereas when it hit the millennia, it seemed to me, it seemed to change.
2000.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, when I was at school, we were having fights, and fights between schools and stuff. And
yeah.
What do they call them? Straighteners. Yeah. Had a straightener.
Yeah, you had gang fights over schools, didn't you?
Yeah. We were out on our bikes all day. The parents wouldn't know where we were. We'd be out doing stuff.
Yes, yeah, man.
And that stopped. I guess the 90s.
Yeah.
In our village, right, there were two fields. There were one we used to call the graveyard because there used to be a church on it, and they made it into a field where we played football.
There was a graveyard next to it, actually.
Yeah, there was a graveyard, but we called that the graveyard. And then there were a park, and we played football in there. And in in the mid-90s, my son were a footballer and he played from being a little kid in the park. And but in the graveyard, they put a load of trees so nobody could play. But there were no kids anyway. And then they did the same with the park. They filled it with trees. Yeah. And so that probably was the sign that there was less kids floating about. There's more houses, but less kids. I don't know how that works.
Also, I was thinking of it, in fact, that field where the second one, there used to be majorettes practicing in there every weekend.
Yeah.
Like
coach used to turn up. Yeah.
Coach used to turn up, drop these 30 majorettes on, throwing battons in there, all with their own uniforms and stuff.
Where are they all gone?
Where did that go? Yeah, where did that kind of community thing go? Where they're all doing that?
Look, where we are today is the equivalent of 1,000 years ago when the barbarians were coming over the hill, ready to burn our houses, rape our wives, and take our children away. Yeah, but today we're just sitting back and letting it happen. The barbarians are wearing suits now and uniforms.
Yeah. Same bloodline.
We're literally going. Maybe got our phones out and go, no, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You look at the people in France. Yeah, the government does anything. They're out on the streets smashing things.
Yeah.
The Nepalese.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Took over their government. They kicked them out. They were chasing the.
Did you see them getting out of the parliament and hanging off the helicopter on the ladder?
Brilliant.
That's a fucking revolt. That is.
Why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we looking at the Starmers?
We have to put up. We have to put up. Yeah, we have to put up with shit like this. Water restrictions. There's a hosepipe ban in where I am. Yorkshire. They're saying there's 65 or 70% reservoirs are full to 65 or 70% capacity.
And where you live has got one of the highest rainfalls in England.
It's absolute insanity. My neighbour, right, has had some work done on his drive, and he said he was chuntering to himself, and he ain't woken up or like that. He had 3 dart finish and ended up with blooming heart complications. But anyway, he was chuntering to himself, and he was going to get his hosepipe out, and he got his hosepipe out, and the neighbours came across the road and said, "You can't do that. There's a hosepipe ban."
I know what I'd have done.
And this is that was a good example, right?
Yes.
They put out their proclamation that there's a hosepipe ban, but we can look around and go, actually, there's lots of water. It's been raining for the last 4 months. Yeah, there's water around. I'm not going to play along.
No, I know I'd have been
hosepipe ban. Fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. And it is frustrating because them neighbours there are bought into the whole system. Even my mate there he actually said it. I was saying to myself, Dom, I said, we're fucking surrounded by water. There ain't a water shortage. We're an island, for fuck's sake. He's chuntering to himself. And
there'd have only been one thing covered in water. It'd have been that woman.
Yeah. Well, we're her and her husband. Yeah. You can't use a hosepipe. There's a hosepipe ban.
Watch me.
Just before I go, I've got one more video, and that is, have you seen, the Eyes Wide Shut video? Have you seen that guy talking about basically the film, the actual film? His mate was Chris? The film editor, or he was one of the film guys on Eyes Wide Shut with Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah,
and then he filmed it for however long it took the film to be made. He was notorious for it taking ages.
4 years, I think it was.
Yeah, 4 years, and they didn't use 1 millimeter of his film in the film after Kubrick died. They re-edited it that much.
I'm scared
this guy's
of
eyes.
People who believe it. I'm scared of the family.
Look at the fucking state of him.
Is he AI? Is he real? Dude?
I don't know. I can't believe it.
It actually looks AI.
Yeah. Well, his eye looks up. One of his eyes is up here. Looks like an hamster. But anyway, he's got something interesting to say.
Oh, okay. With the red hoodie, who live in a large house in Eyes Wide Shut. I also happen to know Stanley Kubrick's cameraman, and he said I used to work with him. He was a freelance cameraman. Worked a lot of very high-end stuff on drama at the BBC, and he got this job for 4 years with Stanley Kubrick. And we used to drink in the bar. And when the film came out, I said, wow, it looks amazing, your work is incredible. He said, it's not in the film. I said, how do you mean? He said, well, I was in New York the entire time, and I shot for 4 years, and none of it's in the film. All they put in the film was Nicole Kidman and what's his name, and the studio just cobbled together a bizarre, non-story stuff. That's not what the film was about, he said. So, and I've tried to speak to the original film editor who, well, I don't know who the original film editor was, but I've tried to speak through the Hollywood agent to the studio film editor, as editor, I'm a film editor to editor, to ask him what was the original film like and what did you do with the studio. And I got into his agent basically told me to bugger off. I mean, he never got in touch with me, and I know who he is quite well. So I don't know. I think there's more to that film than meets the eye.
Yeah.
So they changed the narrative of the film, yeah. Going back to the film analogy and predictive programming and stuff. I heard a guy commenting on it, and he said it doesn't mean anything that you could say, well, he died in Kubrick, so they used some other film and what have you. But if they're changing the narrative, you know, if those people weren't grown-ups in that video, for instance, or that film, and they were using children, and that's what Kubrick wanted to put in, that would be a big reason not to use the film, wouldn't it?
I suspect the proper version is out there somewhere, you know, and it might even surface one day, you know.
Yeah. A bit like the real Zapruder film.
Yeah,
whatever that is.
You can't hide truth.
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I'd like to. I mean, because I like Kubrick songs, but I'm not 100% sure I can get on the back of the fact that he was a good guy and he was trying to expose everything. Just because the amount of money that went into his films, and who gets that ability to have 4 years to make a film? You're talking serious money, aren't you? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It'd be nice if he was a good guy trying to expose some truth. But he always had massive budgets for his films and loads of patience to make the films, where the Hollywood machine didn't usually allow that. I mean, someone might know more than me about it, but I don't know. Odd.
I think I think perhaps he just liked a good story. You know, and it's like if we were filmmakers and we discovered the Earth was flat. You know,
you'd be excited, wouldn't you?
Well, one thing I will say, if you take The Shining, for instance, I mean, Matt was just in a documentary about that. Now they're still making documentaries about Eyes Wide Shut and The Shining, which you're still seeing things in The Shining. I mean, I've watched that film so many times that I'd never even know. I didn't even know this, and I saw a guy do a thing on it. Some people do know it, but in The Shining, Jack Nicholson looks at the camera over and over again, just for fleeting seconds. And I'd never noticed that. I mean, you can notice more things now with HD and stuff. But what does that even mean? So all the way through the film, he flashes his eyes at
Yeah, because how much thought's actually gone into actual telling him to do that, actually setting up the scene for him to do that.
And I've seen that film dozens of times, and I never noticed it.
Normally, if the actor looks at the camera unintentionally...
Yeah, they're doing another cut. Yeah, do it again. Do it again.
Yeah.
But it's so subtle. It's like I can't even. It's like, you know, like that, like kind of. And apparently one of the theories I heard was it's an unnerving thing that he's bringing you into the film. But it's so subtle. And then you've got all those theories. You know, I mean that film that Matt did, that documentary, saying it's got MK Ultra connotations to it now. It's got moon landing connotations. It's got everything in it. It's fucking mental.
Well, I didn't appreciate what that film was about until I saw the sequel.
Sequel's actually quite good. It's quite horrible, actually.
Sleep, isn't it?
Yeah, Dog Sleep. Yeah, it's actually quite good, isn't it? But on the surface, it's just a slasher film. It's just a guy who goes nuts and tries to kill his family.
Yeah.
But there's so many. I mean, in that documentary Matt did, and like I said, I've watched it so many times. In the bit where they're in the ballroom, a woman walks past and she's got a bloody handprint on her backside. I'd never seen that before, and you're like, what does that even mean? Interesting. And then he's got, at the end, when Jack Nicholson is doing the as above, so below thing, way before anyone ever discussed the as above and so below hand signal. I mean, what was that, 1980?
I saw a guy, I forget which film it's on YouTube. I wish I'd saved it now, but he was explaining the camera shots, why they've got two people in a shot and what type of shot it is and why they're doing it at that particular moment and why that shot's just him on his own, for setting the scene for certain things. So I mean, a numbnut like me watching a film, although you can appreciate a good film and good acting and good screenplay and good script and what have you, you don't realise that every fucking minute of that, second of that film has been meticulously thought out. Sorry, Dave.
I was going to say, there's a film recently, Leave the World Behind. Okay. Now, when you just look at what the critics say about it, right?
Is that the one with who's it in it? DiCaprio.
No, it's got Julia Roberts in it. It's the one where the world's falling apart.
Oh, the Obama one. The Obama
yeah,
one.
the Obama one.
Yeah. He produced it, didn't he? Weirdly.
Yeah.
How weird's that? How weird's that Obama's producing films?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. The film on the surface looks like, an end of the world, type scenario thing. But unless you see the keys that are put in there, right, you don't understand what the film's really about, right? And the keys in that film, for instance, is it's all about black people, really,
right?
And because there are subtle things that if you don't know black history, don't know slavery and all that stuff, you won't spot it.
Right.
So there's little bits like he's the white guy in it is driving down the road and he's trying to fiddle with the radio, and the number 1619 keeps coming up on the radio.
Right.
1619 is when the first slaves arrived.
Right.
When the tanker comes to the beach, runs aground on the beach, it's called the White Lion, which was the slave ship, right? And the beach is called Point Comfort, which is where they arrived. So it's littered through the film with little references to say this is what it's about. And once you've got that context, now you can see what the film's.
Because on the surface, it's like a conspiracy theorist wet dream, isn't it? Really, because it's got every conspiratorial thing in it, isn't it? Really,
right? But it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
But once you
watch it and know them bits,
those bits, now it makes sense. And I suspect that films like The Shining and that, right, there are clues in that, or the keys in that, so that you can make full sense of what that film is.
I'll have to watch it again. I did watch it when it came out.
Yeah, I've got to watch it again.
Yeah. Well, we keep saying, Dave, we'll end it there, but we keep saying that we're going to watch a film. Like Matt Landman keeps talking about it as well. Watch a film and then come back and do a podcast on that particular film.
I'm always talking about films on this thing.
I know it'd be a good podcast. That.
Well, let me know if you're going to do Leave the World Behind, because that's.
I think it's a good idea as well, though, because once the frenzy's died down, these things are worth really looking at, because it was a bit of a frenzy at the time when that came out, wasn't it? Everyone going on about it, and like you said, you knew there was a point to it. I just couldn't put my finger on it. I did notice a bit of that slave thing. I think when they're in the room, there's a picture on the wall, something in it. I remember thinking that was odd, but I always got the feeling I missed the point. I didn't know what the point was.
Well, one thing to look at, just one point to explain. The white family is sleeping upstairs, and the black family is, just coming in. They say, "Well, we'll sleep downstairs." Yeah. Behind the bed where the white family is sleeping is the sea.
Right.
A mural of the sea behind them. Right. The black family go downstairs, so they switch the light on upstairs, and it's like an open stairway, and the light's coming in to the dark downstairs room through the open stairway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks exactly like a slave ship.
Right.
So they're going downstairs. The White family are upstairs. So
Yeah. They're in the bows of
they're up the top.
guts of the ship. Yeah.
And the Black family's down in the hold. Yeah.
Yeah. Does that picture change on the wall as well? I forgot that.
Picture changes on the wall.
Just
Yeah.
it,
One of them, it looks like a whole bunch of Ku Klux Klan members.
I think, but like you've spotted that there. Once you've got that in your head and you watch it again, you'll see it as a totally different thing, won't it? So,
yeah.
Totally different film. Yeah. All right then. Shall we leave it there?
Yeah. I'm gonna go.
Thanks, Dave. Just stay there a sec, Dave, and we'll I'll play the theme tune. Yeah.
I'll see you later, guys. See you later, Dave. I'm gonna go. See you later, Dom.
You're not gonna go. Oh,
I am. I'm going.
You're not. You're not.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks.
See everybody.
See you, everyone.
See you next time. Bye. He's gone. See you in a bit, Dave. Just stay there where you are.